So, maybe you just come here from that traumatizing video. Of course, you might be thinking, so like, are you going to introduce us to another traumatizing fic? No, this one is going to be more lighthearted. So, I don't know. I don't know what happened between 2016 and 2017, but the two creations during that year, they were like the opposite of each other. Like, you know that meme of that black house and the pink house being neighbors? Yeah, that's exactly what's going on between the 2016 fix and the 2017 fix. Anyway, before I get onto like the plot of this fic, I have to explain a few things. So maybe you don't know, but I am really into the Cupid theory. Now, I'm not the Cupid theory, just Cupid in general. I'm just really like interested in how a person could make two people fall in love with each other. And so I thought that, hey, if there is a person who can make people fall in love with each other, then there is a person who can make people hate each other. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I decided to come up with this fantasy creation called anti-Cupid, which is like the opposite of Cupid. Instead of making people love each other, they will make people hate each other. But that's not the only thing. In the universe that I'm writing, Cupids cannot make people fall in love with each other. They can only heal relationships of a dating couple. For example, a couple dating for like maybe a few years, and they're like having some kind of conflict, and at that moment, a Cupid and an anti-Cupid will come to discussion of whether that couple, well, they could stay with each other or they should just break up. And if they should stay together, the Cupid would be there to heal their relationship, but if not, the anti-Cupid would be the person to end it. And this is the fun thing though. You know how the Cupid made people fall in love with each other using arrows, those heart-shaped arrow things? Well, in my universe, the Cupid would use tape to heal people's relationship, because there are many pictures and many images of relationship described in a red string. You see, when the relationship starts to like break out, the red string will become like maybe less red and thinner, but when the tape is used, they're going to be more red, shinier, just like how it used to be. But what's the opposite of tape? Scissors. So of course they will use scissors to like cut the rope of relationship, just like how those three witches used the scissor to end people's life in Hercules. You get me? Cupid, anti-Cupid? You get me? You get me? So, now onto the plot. Imagine you are a really hard-working student up until the point that you have no definition of romance. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Of course you can. And of course, the main protagonist of the series I'm writing, I tried to make him into like a really serious person, but again, the fact that I'm trying to write, he is not going to be serious or anything. So of course, how to say this? Do you know the fact that most people could see ghosts if they're in like the state between being conscious and unconscious? Like a person who is unconscious up to the point they're called plain people. Yeah, those are the person who have the highest percentage of seeing a ghost or spiritual things. So that is my main plot. Yes, the main protagonist is going to be unconscious up to the point people think he's dead. Yes, I'm a bad person, just punch me. And of course, our protagonist will meet our Cupid and our anti-Cupid. So this is the fun thing though. The Cupid would be a fun, loving, optimistic person, and he will literally be the mom of the entire series. And what the anti-Cupid, he or she will hate couples up to the point where before the series began, he or she will already use the scissors to cut relationship freely. Of course. Sorry, I'm just having this. So of course our protagonist, being a really romance oblivious person, will question why cupids and anti-cupids even exist. Like, aren't people fall in love with each other as in nature? And yes, that is the truth, but whether they stay with each other or not depends on many factors. So throughout the series, the trio, they will go through many single relationship that requires either a cupid to heal or an anti-cupid to break. And there will be many types of relationship. For example, a cheating couple, a platonic love couple, friends with benefits kind of relationship, or even an abusive, an unhealthy, a toxic relationship in general. But the point of it is, love is a really anonymous thing if we think about it, because it just happens by natural, but it affects us so much. So throughout the series, I will try to discover and point out what I have found out about the definition of love. It will be not so specific, but enough for you to understand. I know that just sounds stupid. It's not like I'm going to Wikipedia to search for love or anything. But this is the cool thing too. The origin of the Cupid and the anti-Cupid in my universe is pretty special. I'm not going to reveal too much, like what am I kidding? It's not that I'm going to release the fic or anything. Just going to release it. A Cupid is a person, let's just say that Cupid and anti-Cupid in my universe is pretty weird, so keep up with me. A Cupid in my universe is a person whose past life has spent the entire life loving just one person and suffer from it. Like one-side love thing, while the anti-Cupid is the person whose past life is suffering from a breaking relationship, and the personality of their past life will affect the personality of their current life. For example, the Cupid, fun loving, so I bet that his past life he's like a really friendly person who devoted his entire heart. Why do I say he? I don't even have a specific gender yet. Let's just say he. Who devoted his heart towards this girl who wouldn't even notice him. I know, sad but. And for the anti-Cupid, his last life would probably be like, so he's suffering from a really long-term relationship being broken, and of course, probably it wouldn't be his or her fault, but it's their partner's fault. Up until the point, and they would suffer so much up until the point where God decided to make the next life hate couples. And of course, I do have many other traits for the main protagonist. Like, as I said this, I really like to make the main protagonist a really bland one, just so they could relate, so just the audience could relate to that character, but not too bland up to the point where he's considered boring. Of course, I know the limits between being bland and boring. They are not the same things, you know. And how the series ended, I actually haven't think of this, but if I had to come up with an ending, it would probably be pretty sad. I don't know, that's the thing about me. I always come up with the negative things. Why? The ending would probably be pretty sad. Like I said before, only people in the state of being unconscious and conscious would be able to see spiritual things. So maybe I will magically make the protagonist being able to live as a normal person again, instead of being an implanted person. And before that, and the Cupid and the anti-Cupid will have the last case before they retire. Yes, of course, they retire. I mean, they have to, of course. Like, there couldn't be just one Cupid and one anti-Cupid for like throughout centuries. And the last case will be the case of the main protagonist with his crush. So they will whether decide if he stayed with his crush, who obviously doesn't like him, or break up the relationship or break up with their. I'm sorry, I forgot the one big thing I have to mention. 5 years after he has awakened, learning all the definition of love with the Cupid and the anti-Cupid, he will start to develop a crush on a girl. And it's the job of the two other person to decide whether he stayed with the crush who, how do I say this, has a pretty weird feelings towards him, like above loving but above despising feelings towards him. It's just pretty angsty. Or he and she break up, and he once again wasted 5 years of his life just to love a girl who doesn't even notice him. He will question life again, just like how I did. It's going to be a pretty sad one. Like, I couldn't come up with like a happy, maybe a fun ending. Like, if you could, congratulations, because I couldn't. Thank you guys for watching, and the last video will come.